Last time we saw He-Man, mysterious tremors were felt all across Eternia. He and his forces had deterred another nefarious plan of Skeletor and his henchmen, and the tremors had led the Mountain Heaven Piercer to open up and disclose another power sword, similar to that of He-Man, but with a purple blade. If you don't remember what happened, head back to our exploration of the first issue and come back. We will wait for you. Now He-Man finds out the reason for the tremors, and we are gonna find out with him, but not before you tap on that subscribe button. It's a tiny click for you, but means the world for us. Thank you for being our valued follower. Old memories and new discoveries. We start with a sweet memory from Adam's childhood when he first got Cringer. The cat had snuck away from him and was hiding beneath Duncan's arms while Adam complained about him. Man-at-Arms gently reminded him that an orphaned green tiger from the vine jungle was super rare and valuable. Adam only wants to play with him, but Cringer was sacred and refused to come out of his hiding spot. Adam demanded Teela to play with him, and Teela brushed him off, leading Adam to let out a petulant whine. Duncan saw this as a teaching moment and told Adam that instead of always asking for something from everyone, he should try offering something to them. Adam had run out of sardines and ideas about what to give Cringer. Duncan helped by asking Adam how he would feel if he was far from home without his parents. So Adam gently extended his arm and offered Cringer a promise that whatever happens, Cringer does not have to be alone anymore. In present day, Orko's magic trick backfires horribly, and he conjures up a fearsome golem-like cloud that scares Cringer so much that he hides under the first table he finds, much to the amusement of the king, the queen, the man-at-arms, and the prince. Their laughter is interrupted when Teela brings in an injured Mekanek. Mekanek speaks about a wave of illness and delirium caused by the recent tremors that also unleashed something buried in the highest peaks of the cairn of Pantheons. With blood oozing out of his nose, Mekanek crashes down as Duncan and King Randor rush to help him. He reports that Photog had stayed there despite everything. He asks King Randor to call for He-Man and shows them the power sword he saw on the Heaven Piercer with the help of a projection. Randor asks Teela to assemble a unit of special agents to explore the inhabitable space with Duncan, to accompany her personally. Randor, unaware of his son's alter ego, tries to nurture his courage and is about to assign some work when Duncan interrupts to help Adam. He informs Randor that his skills are in intelligence gathering and he should approach the sorceress to find out more about the sword. Adam, maybe getting too much into his role as the stupid prince, doesn't get Duncan's cue and begins to argue when he is reminded that the sorceress has means to contact He-Man directly, implying that Adam would have a great opportunity to become He-Man away from the eyes of Randor. Skeletor's schemes and God's rage. As Evil Lyn puts together a group to go get the new power sword, Skeletor thinks it is much ado for nothing. He calls the sword a purple stick, but Evil Lyn is not ready to hear such slander. She reminds him that the sword had shown such horrors of the battlefield to Triclops that his mind was compromised. Evil Lyn believed that the sword had the same power that Adam's did, which helped He-Man defeat Skeletor and his goons again and again. She saw in the sword the same potential she saw in Skeletor, the ability to bring down Eternia. Skeletor is roused by her speech and he rallies his minions to get the blade at all costs. Meanwhile, the sorceress draws a blank about the sword even after looking through the great eye of the galaxy and the libraries of the Council of Elders. She promises to find it in time, as there was knowledge stored in Castle Grayskull even before the Great Wars. She asks him to lend her Orko, as she doesn't want to go through the journey of finding it alone, due to the fear of seeing something inconceivable. Adam offers his companionship as he's a part of Grayskull, but the sorceress wants him beside Teela and Duncan, as their protection is important to both of them. On the snowy mountains of Cairn of Pantheons, Teela and Man-at-Arms lead a group that includes Roboto, Champ, Clamp, and Rockon. Duncan quotes from the Song of Restless Days that speak about how the old gods will walk out into the cairn when the prayers are silenced, and how they will sleep there till their names are spoken again. Teela asks about Eternia before the Great Wars, and Duncan tells her that the days were brutal and cruel till King Randor made peace. Teela muses on how they still fight, but now against demons, aliens, and snake men. Their small group finds Photog buried amidst the snow. Photog had believed he would be able to maintain the station, but his powers had been drained by something. The only reason he could survive, he had drained energy from some other being. As soon as Photog showed this being to Duncan, his eyes opened wide, and he asked Tila to rally the men as they now had to fight an angry god. As if on cue, a four-armed giant being, whose body is made from stone, rises out of the snow. This is none other than Procrustes, an ancient god who is pissed off that nobody speaks his name anymore, and that Eternia no longer needs his four arms to hold it together. The irked god is further angered that his energy was drained so that he never rose, and that they had replaced their greatest titan with soulless dancing golems. With enough energy to crush all mortals, Procrustes attacks, declaring that no one stands between him and his justice. Adam rides in on his battle cat and says that he will stand in his way. As He-Man and Procrustes fight, Duncan asks Tila to guard Photog. Procrustes reminisces about his glory days as he fights He-Man, about how people used to carve monuments to him and aspired to be as strong as him. He intends to bring back the great tribes onto the world once he gets his strength. His plans will have to be on hold though, as Adam inserts his sword into the heart of the boastful god. The wound causes Procrustes' stony body to crack and break. In his last breath, the god tells He-Man that an evil had returned to Eternia and it was hungry. Procrustes is reduced to rubble, and He-Man ponders the final words of the god that there will be no tomorrow for Eternia. On the eastern side of the cairn of Pantheons, Skeletor drives his weapon into Nuitarak, the god of the Dark Moon people, and kills him. Evil Lyn wonders why the asleep gods were now awake. Triclops, now closer to the blade, has an answer to this. He explains that the sword had no power of its own, so it pulled from anything it could. Back at Grayskull, Orko is overwhelmed with the library's many resources and calls it an abyss. The library was so impossibly huge because sages were concerned about knowledge when the Great Wars began. They wanted to protect every bit of information they had on magic and technology. This wisdom became the power and energy of Grayskull, the same energy that turned Adam into He-Man. But the answers to their question lay beyond this wisdom in an older Eternia. To find that, the sorceress and Orko of Trolla time travel hand in hand to Preternia, the older Eternia. Verdict. Well, that ended quickly. My only criticism against this comic is I hoped it was longer. The art is, as usual, on point, and the plot was tight and succinct. We can only wait for the next issue to see what new horrors the Purple Sword will unleash. We hope you liked the video, and if you did, tap on that thumbs up. We will soon be back with more awesome stuff, and until then, take care.